And good Saturday morning to you. Welcome to WFMJ Weekend today. The calm before the storm. You always hear it, but it is very calm outside right now.
Quite literally today, yeah.
Exactly. The valley bracing for a big winter blast. A body found on Youngstown's south side is identified as a man missing since last year. Well, an emotional day in the courtroom Friday for the family of murder victim Carl Herrig as his friends testified about plans that he made to move forward with his life. Michelle Nix says the prosecution has now rested its case, and the coroner talked about the impact of the bullets the victim likely never saw coming. This is the big story of the week, and I know we talk a lot about the opioid epidemic here on the news, and I know a lot of people don't want to hear about it sometimes anymore, but this is an important part. This could be a turning point.
While workers here wait to learn what could eventually be in store for Lordstown's future, many are now preparing for layoffs, including those who work for a local supplier. They're slowly starting to evacuate some of these students out of the Mahoning County Career and Technical Center. I spoke with workers as they left this plant's parking lot for what could be their very last time. They tell me workers inside were in tears today and emotional. The UAW says it plans to fight and continue to fight to bring another product to this plant, and they hope the message that they gathered here to send today makes it all the way to Detroit. Since this spill, the state has changed the rules to no longer allow oil field waste to be stored the way it was at the KDA site. That spill traveled into the wetland and beyond, and I'm told it was a major contributing factor to that decision. Serenity was eventually found by her family here near the intersections of Palmyra and Risher roads. It's about a mile and a half away from the school, an area that her aunt says is too busy and dangerous for any young child to be walking alone. The property owner says they're going to continue to shoot the boar if they turn up on their property, but they question why this is their problem in the first place. Bob Seger, The Who, the Eagles, those tribute bands, that'll be a good one to check out on June 1st. Gotta love those Hollywood nights. Let's just hope it's a little warmer than it is right now. We saw some of the last cruises go to dealerships today as we drove by the plant today. They were being put up onto trucks. Someone who saw the last cruise go down the line today, Tim O'Hara, thank you so much for joining me this evening. You know, a lot of the workers I spoke with as they came out of the plant today driving home, some said they don't have transfer options. What's the mood among your workers right now? What are they talking about at the union hall to you personally? What options do they have if they can't transfer? And you mentioned temps might be in their way.
From where they sit here inside the queue to their intentions to unify, Ohio delegates are taking heat from others who are annoyed that they're just not jumping on the Trump bandwagon. We are now just hours away until Trump takes the stage, so the million-dollar question is, will Kasich walk in the door? Even if he just sits down, he's got a few hours to do it, so there's still some time left. The local reaction primarily focuses on his promise to protect America's economy. That is a campaign message that he used to pave his way to the White House.
That is something that Trumbull County Prosecutor Chris Becker says he wants. He wants the stiffest punishment possible. He says LaRosa remains a danger to the public and he should be locked up for the rest of his life. The competition to bring jobs to Ohio is a constant fight. Ohio Governor John Kasich says he's in talks with a Taiwanese company to move to the state, while at the same time staying in contact with officials at General Motors to ensure auto jobs don't leave. With uncertainty looming over the future of GM Lordstown and General Motors for that matter, we are meeting with industry insiders to get knowledge and maybe an outlook on what could be the future for General Motors and the jobs here in our valley. So joining me this morning to talk a little bit more about that is Autotrader.com executive analyst Michelle Krebs. Thank you so much for joining me here on the Renaissance Center building patio, which overlooks Canada, by the way. Pretty neat. And this is really the home of one of the big three. It's a massive building in size and scope, but really the industry isn't as big as it used to be. And I think that's something that maybe we're looking at now is things are changing in the industry. In your 35 years in your career, what have you seen happen to American auto jobs, and how do you think our plant fits into that future? Well, Derek and Leslie, I spoke with workers as they left this plant's parking lot for what could be their very last time. They tell me workers inside were in tears today and emotional. The UAW says it plans to fight and continue to fight to bring another product to this plant, and they hope the message that they gathered here to send today makes it all the way to Detroit.
GM has been unallocated. They've unallocated. We don't even know what this word means. When I type it in the computer, it's underlined red because I don't even think it's a damn word. But I'll tell you this, it's corporate greed at its finest.
Lining up in solidarity along Bailey Road, Members of the UAW Local 1112 rallying to be there for their brothers and sisters leaving the GM assembly plant for what could be the last time.
We believed in this company. We gave it everything that we could possibly give this company. And we just feel so let down.
We're leaving our family, we're leaving our friends, and we're leaving everything that we have with the last carrier that goes down.
The union presented community activist Werner Lang with a collection of donations from UAW members, thanking him for taking a stand for them outside for the last 43 days. He believes the community's support could help.
I just know that with that spirit, with that power, we can turn what looks like an American tragedy into an American triumph.
The final Chevy Cruze made its way off the line today. Workers in the trim and chassis departments watched it go by before they left their jobs in the afternoon, some without a plan for their future.
Who wants to move away? And then who's to say that it can't happen if you go to another plant?
I just believe that we're going to eventually get another car, or something has to come to this area. Something's going to come. I do believe that.
She says the UAW remains strong. A former local union leader agrees and doesn't believe that this will be the end.
And I've got a gut feeling that we're going to get something in our plant. I'm cautiously optimistic. I hope I'm right. But I think that our membership has given so much to General Motors and this valley to the point where just turning their back on this plant, I just don't think that's an option.
Now, contract talks between GM and the local union are set for September. That's when the automaker could decide if this plant will have another chapter. Today, GM announced that those contract talks this summer are going to be important. Back to you.
When Serenity Matthews didn't get off the school bus Monday afternoon, her grandma knew something was wrong. The second grader says she was told by her teacher to walk home, even though she insisted that's not something she normally does.
I tried, but nobody was listening to me. And my teacher said go. And then I was trying to find my way home, and the bus wasn't there. I was trying to find the bus, and I couldn't find it.
Serenity was eventually found by her family here near the intersections of Palmyra and Risher Roads. It's about 1.5 miles away from the school, an area that her aunt says is too busy and dangerous for any young child to be walking alone.
That's not a good area. There has been multiple crimes over there. They're not great people walk over there. Your heart drops.
The district claims staff and the school resource officer were also searching for the girl. Superintendent Steve Shiro says he's now investigating after an individual in the school office mistakenly called the wrong child with instructions to walk home.
There may be another child that's not that lucky to have family that is even home at that point to be able to go out and look for them, and they may not return.
Coy believes the school needs to make changes so that this doesn't happen again. With more local news, I'm Lindsay McCoy. Evacuating students classroom by classroom, police patted down all of the school's almost 900 students, searching their bags and cars before clearing them to leave the school.
We haven't been able to determine specifically where it comes from, but we do have leads that we're working on, and so Canfield detectives and Mahoning County Sheriff detectives are working diligently to make sure we identify the suspect.
Canfield Police, Fire, and a SWAT team and the Mahoning County Sheriff's Office blocked off entrances to the building, telling parents to pick up some of the students at Old North Church. A daycare attached to that church went on lockdown as a precaution. Several MCCTC parents arrived quickly, worried about their children's safety.
Fear, absolute fear. I left my job and told my boss I couldn't clock out. I had to go.
I was helpless. Like, she said she was scared, and I was scared, and I couldn't go do nothing.
Canfield's police chief tells me they received 3 anonymous phone calls threatening the safety of students this morning, followed by a 4th phone call, which was a bomb threat, and that's why they immediately placed this school on lockdown.
And we appreciate the parents' patience. We were able to lock down all the entry points of the school, and that helped out quite a bit.
Police say they did not find a weapon, but say they are confident they have a strong lead on a suspect who allegedly said they wanted to shoot up the school.
MCCTC will have classes tomorrow with an increased police presence. With more local news, I'm Lindsay McCoy. A 6-page survey arriving in the mail probes people living nearby about any health-related symptoms that they may have suffered before and after the oil spill at Cleese Development Associates in 2015. It asks about any respiratory, dermal, or cardiovascular issues and some cancers.
I'm not drawing conclusions at this point on any of it. Again, we're merely looking to study an area that was impacted by an accident to see if there may be some kind of association.
Kent State University is partnering with the County Board of Health on the project within this radius of the spill, comparing those impacted to a group that was not. The state says KDA failed to construct a proper containment liner at its oil field waste facility off of Sodom Hutchins Road.
Since the spill, the state has changed the rules to no longer allow oil field waste to be stored the way it was at the KDA site. That spill traveled into the wetland and beyond, and I'm told it was a major contributing factor to that decision.
Since the KDA incident, division no longer allows those underground containment basins as a secondary containment method for those Class 2 injection wells. We now require greater containment capacity.
KDA's operators were not criminally punished. ODNR settled with the company out of court and would not comment on the details. And a civil suit involving the property owner on the other side of Sodom Hutchins settled before it was set to go to trial this week, asking for at least $25,000 in damages, alleging that KDA knew or should have known that its containment system failed. With more local news, I'm Lindsay McCoy.